I feel like this video actually kind of make me a little embarrassed at how much money I've spent, but it is what it is, and I'm well aware that I'm trash. So it's been almost now a full year of quarantine, like literally almost to the day as I'm filming this. I am filming this a little bit early. I am going to be moving, so I'm about to be packing up all of my books. So I wanted to quick do this video before I have to pack them all up, and I wanted to do a haul from quarantine over the past whole year, since like March 15th to basically almost March 15th again. Yikes. Before quarantine started, I had a very small book collection. I had like the classics. I had the Divergent series, I had the Hunger Games series, I had a few random miscellaneous like contemporary books, and I had Veronica Roth's other duology, the Carve the Mark duology. Like I had a very limited book collection, mostly because I did not really get back into reading until the last half of 2019. So even then, when I was really getting back into reading really heavily, I was always reading from the library, and I just checked out books from there. But during COVID and during quarantine, our library shut down. It's now open again, but obviously like, things are just taking a lot longer because they're doing like a rest period between books to make sure that they can like sanitize them. And also they're just taking longer to get between libraries. I do check out ebooks from there now because I have a Kindle, but I did not have a Kindle at the start of quarantine. That is something that I also bought, and that has saved me by far so much money. But now with my collection, everything that I own is a book that I absolutely love. I think there are only 6 books that I have on the shelf here that I have not read yet, and I guarantee I'm going to love at least 5 of them. There's one that I don't know. I'm hoping that I'm gonna like it, but it was one that I got from like a discount book website for only like $5. So if I don't love it, cool, it was only $5. But I did just want to catalog everything that I've bought over the past year because obviously it's been a lot. But the thing with my collection is that every single book, first of all, I love rereading books. So every single book that I own on my shelf here is something that I'm going to reread once, if not multiple times. So I don't just have books for the sake of having books. I have them because I genuinely love them. So I don't even know why I feel like I need to defend my book collection, because it's really no one else's business if I have them or not. Like it's my own personal money that I'm choosing to spend on books. So it is what it is. So I'm just going to run through every single book that I bought. I'm obviously not going to go in depth on all of them because this would be an insanely long video, but we're just going to kind of do a bit of a haul on them all.
Wow, good job filming me. I forgot to voice over this, so editing me will do it now. This is my full bookshelf. We're going to be going over here.
Okay, we're going to start with these 4 here because these are all of the book club books that we have read in the book club that I'm a part of. My best friend Katie, my podcast co-host, I have her link down in the description there. Also, I have our Popcorn Chats podcast, link in the description down there. You can get it on any podcast streaming platform. Talk all things movie and TV. But her and her cousin and some of like her cousin's friends have a book club, and Katie asked if I could join, and they let me. So I'm now in their book club, and we've read 3 books so far, and then we're just starting The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This was my pick. I'm so freaking excited to read this. I actually have to read it tonight for book club, but I can't wait. I have really high hopes for this. But then the other 3 books that we have read so far have been Wise Blood by Flannery O'Connor, then In the Time of Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. This one, this was incredible. And then The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Don't even get me started on this book. Gonna be in my top 10 of 2021. No questions. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of go row by row now. So I'm gonna kind of sit angled a bit just so it's easier to pull them out. I have The Spectacular Now by Tim Thorpe. This is my absolutely favorite book of all time. I did just decide to buy this during quarantine, mostly because I couldn't check it out from my library more, and I normally read this book like once a year. So I was just missing it, although I do wish I have the movie version copy, which I don't mind because this is one of my favorite movies and I love Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller, but I do want the original hardback, so I'm really hunting for that, and I'm hoping that one day I can randomly come across it on some sort of like thrift site or something because I want the original of this. Lastly, I got the entire Bard to You series by Sylvia Day. So it is it Bard or Bared to You? Bared to You, Reflected in You, Entwined with You, Captivated by You, and One with You. So I had read this series actually I read it I think back in 2019. It was one of the first like big published romance series that I had read, and I really liked it. I don't think I was necessarily planning on purchasing this. Like, this wasn't a series that I was like, oh, I really need to find that and hunt that down. But I found it, I think, on Better World Books for all of these for maybe $12. And I was like, yep, thank you. I'll take them. So, oh, shit. Okay. We're just gonna ignore that. So then I have the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I'm also gonna get up to some of the other Leigh Bardugo that I have. It's just separate on my shelves. I got this first one checked out from the library, and then after I read this and was into it, I went ahead and just bought the other two because these were gonna take over 6 months for me to read, and I was like, nope, I'll just buy them. And I can't wait for the show. The show looks incredible. Okay. Then I bought Forbidden by Tabitha Zuma. I bought this for a reading vlog that I did, Banned Forbidden Taboo books. I'm so happy that I own this. I know, guys, if it's not your thing, don't read it. I totally get why people don't want to read this book. That's totally fine. This book absolutely shattered me. I have never been so emotionally distraught after the end of the book. It was incredible. I don't think it'll be a frequent reread though, because it did like really fuck me up. Then I have 2 Saffron Kent books. I have The Unrequited and Medicine Man. I love both these. Her books tend to be kind of hit or miss for me, but The Unrequited was the first one that I read. It's a student teacher. I absolutely love it. And Medicine Man, bitch, again, if it's not your thing, don't read it, but this was incredible. And yeah, I love both of these. Then I just bought It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I did check this out from the library originally and read it and fell in love with it, and I knew that I needed to own it because this book is life-changing. Then I got Sweet Dandelion, one of my favorite books of 2020. I've already talked about this book a lot, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but it's incredible. And again, if it's not your thing, don't read it. It is a student teacher, but I love that trope, so whatever. Then I got The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I do hate this cover. I think it's the UK cover. I wish I had the US one, but I ordered it off of Amazon and it was supposed to be the US cover and it came with the UK. I didn't care enough to return it, but whoo, just throw it there. I love this. I think my favorite like traditionally published romance by far. Enemies to Lovers at its finest. Then I have The Truth About Heartbreak duet by B. Celeste. So The Truth About Heartbreak and The Truth About Tomorrow. I love both of these, brother's best friend trope, and then this one's super taboo. Again, if it's not your thing, don't read it, but I absolutely love these. If you haven't read anything by B. Celeste yet, please do. She's incredible. And I do definitely want to add more of her books to my collection. Just to kick it off, I had to start with these two because they are my favorites of hers. Random one in here, it was more just for spacing, but it's Know My Name by Shanelle Miller. I read this one last month. I had also checked it out from the library and I needed to own it. This book, it will be my top book of 2021. I don't think anything can pass it. It's incredible. And if you haven't read it yet, I know it's nonfiction. Nonfiction is normally not my thing, but her writing is so incredible. And Shanelle Miller, the way that she tells her story, absolutely insane. Such a great book. Then I have Him and Us. Again, can you stop calling me out like this? By Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. I read this on my Kindle last year and I need to add them. I really love these. It's basically like off campus, but make it gay, kind of, if that's the best way that I can describe it. So it is a male-male romance, but it's again like a hockey college romance, and I loved it, especially the second book. The second book went there with some mental health stuff, and I was here for it. Okay, and now these kind of kicked off my collection at the start of COVID. I did get all of the off-campus series, so The Deal, The Mistake, The Score, and The Goal. By far, The Mistake is my favorite. Y'all are sleeping on my man, John Logan. I don't know why everyone hates this book out of the series. This is by far the best. Actually, that's a lie. The Deal is also incredible. The first 2 books are the best. Dean is overrated. I'm just going to say it here right now. Unpopular opinion. He's great, but he is no John Logan or Garrett Graham. And then I also got the Briar U series. So I read all of the off-campus books from my library first before buying them. These I hadn't read before buying them, and I did really enjoy them. Although, so they consist of The Chase, The Risk, by far the best out of them, The Play, by far the worst out of them, and The Dare. The Dare just came out this past summer. I really like these, but they just can't top Off Campus. Off Campus is better than Briar U. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. The Play is just not good. I'm just gonna be honest, that book was not good, and I had high hopes for my man Hunter, and it was just such a letdown. The Risk, though, is by far my favorite out of this. I really liked The Dare. I know some other people didn't really vibe with it as much. I liked it, and I liked The Chase a lot. That's my first shelf. That's only the first, guys. We're in it. These used to be so much better organized, but then as I was adding more books, I just didn't really have the room. So in my new apartment, I do have another bookshelf that I built, so I'll be able to like expand them out more and make them look prettier, but in the time being, this is what it's gonna be. I have the Throne of Glass Collector's Edition. I actually just got this last night, and I'm so excited to have it. It's beautiful, and I have the A Court of Thorns and Roses one that I'll show you here in a second. I'll talk more about the Throne of Glass series when we get to it, but I had to have the collector's edition of this. And I have like my Penelope Douglas shrine here. I now officially own every single thing that Penelope Douglas has published, because she's my queen. So I have Misconduct, one of her standalones. I do have the UK version of this. I couldn't find the US cover. I'd like to find the US cover eventually, but you know, it is what it is, and at least I have a paperback copy. The Falling Away series, so that consists of Bully, Until You, Rival, Falling Away, and The Next Flame. This is her first series that she's ever published. It is, if we're picking between like this and Devil's Night is definitely my favorite over this, but I do really enjoy it. Out of all of them, my favorite is Falling Away. It's the third book, technically, because Until You is just Jared's retelling of Bully, and I actually haven't read this yet. So I'm planning on doing a full reread of this before her newest spin-off book of this series comes out, so I'm kind of pulling off to read it then. And I did find The Next Flame for $6, where this can sell for up to like $150 on eBay. Get out of here. I was gonna pay that, but I found it for $5 at $6 at Barnes & Noble, so I drove 3.5 hours to get it. I have a vlog of me doing that with one of my friends. I have all of her standalones. They're just gonna all collapse in the background. It is what it is, people. Forget about it. So I have the collector's edition of Birthday Girl. I did get this in the Mystic box. It is signed by her. I had only signed up for Mystic box for her month's version, and this was the standalone in it. I was kind of disappointed at the time because I wanted Punk 57 or Credence because I didn't own either of those, but I already owned Birthday Girl. But now I have 2 copies, and this cover is really pretty. Birthday Girl was the first book that I ever read by her and started my obsession. It's still my favorite standalone by far, and even this cover is really pretty too. And I also have gotten some of my friends to read this because I'm just a hoe for Penelope. And then I have Credence and Punk 57. I actually won a giveaway from Penelope Douglas just a couple of weeks ago on her Instagram, and so I got to pick 2 of her books and she would sign them for me, and I just assumed they would come like the Mystic Box ones, just with her name on them. But no, she like, you can see right there my name. She like personalized it and wrote me a little message and then her name for Credence. And then she did the same in Punk 57, but with like a here's your tribe, because it's all about like finding your tribe in this one. It did make me tear up when I got these. I was so excited. It meant a lot to me, and she's my favorite author. So that was super cool. So I'm glad these were my last 2 standalones that I had to add to my collection, and now I have them. So I was really excited about that. And I have the Devil's Night series. Again, I do have the regular Corrupt version, just one of my friends is borrowing it right now. So I have the limited edition version of Corrupt. Again, it's signed, but I think I have some of the random goodies in here, so I'm gonna leave that closed, but I love the limited edition version of this. And then followed by Hideaway, and then Kill Switch, and then the novella Conclave, and then Nightfall, and then Fire Night, the novella after the series ended. So I've already talked about this series before, so I don't really need to go into it more. By far, I actually kind of still can't decide. I always go back and forth between if I like Hideaway or Kill Switch better, books 2 and 3. I just really love Kai and Damon. Nightfall, people leave Penelope alone. I guess people have like really shit on her when this book released and saying that she like ruined the whole series. And she made a post in her Facebook group just a few days ago talking about like how much pressure she was under and how she let everyone down, how like she just saw like all negative comments about Nightfall. I liked Nightfall. I mean, granted, everyone's opinion is valid and it's a book and it's out there for interpretation. Personally, I really liked Nightfall, and it was not a letdown, and it did not ruin the series for me. So I really loved these. And last on the shelf is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. So this one I got off of like a bargain website first before ever reading it, because I just heard about it. And then after I read this, I was obsessed. And this was right when COVID started, so I needed to then get the other books. So I bought the other 3, although I thought that I was going to get the rest of these in paperback, thinking that they would be cheaper. It wasn't. So Glass Sword was cheaper in paperback. These 2 were cheaper in hardcover. So now I have 1 paperback sandwiched between them all. It bothers me, but I'm not going to spend more money just to fix that. I have very mixed feelings about this series. I loved book 1. And then it just kind of went downhill each book for me from there. Warstorm took me months to read. I DNF'd it for a while, and then I finally picked it back up, and it was like a chore to kind of get through. I do still like the series, but it was just a little disappointing. It's then the shelf above, which you can't see where I'm filming from right now. It's basically like my Sarah J. Maas shelf with all those books. So I do have the collector's, the collector's edition of A Court of Thorns and Roses as well. It's so stunning. Crescent City, this is another book that I have not read yet, but I bought it just knowing that I was probably going to love it because I love Throne of Glass and ACOTAR. I have the ACOTAR series here. Yep, Silver Flames looks fucking huge compared to the rest, but I'm not just going to rebuy the series, like these 4 books for the new covers just to match. And also, I don't love the new covers. I don't hate this as much as everyone else does, but I don't really like the other ones. I don't necessarily love these covers either. No! I kind of like having the OG covers too. Now that they have new ones, I'm like, oh, they feel vintage. You know what? I'm just gonna pull these 4 down. I'm not gonna pull the other 4. And why did I have to choose the biggest 4? I have the whole Throne of Glass series. I have the other 4 up there. I got them in a box set, so they're all paperbacks. So they consist of the Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. Again, I have 2 whole reading vlogs of reading this for the first time up on my channel already. I read them for the first time last summer, and I absolutely fell in love. This is what really got me back into fantasy. Well, ACOTAR did, and then Throne of Glass from there got me back into reading fantasy. These books just like mean a lot to me. They're just like sentimental now in a way. And I mean, out of the whole series, Empire of Storms is my favorite. It's book 5. There wasn't a book that I didn't love. I do think that they got better and better as they went. And I personally love Tower of Dawn. I know people don't like it because it's Kale's book. I like Kale, so I'm sorry. Okay, we are at the end here. We're at the final books. Okay, so I have 6 of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I have not read this yet. I am planning on reading it this month as well because I just finished 6 of Crows last month. And I love the absolute crap out of this. Again, I wanted to read these before the show. I can't wait to read Crooked Kingdom. Casbracker, call me an investment anytime you want. Then I have Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I bought this after I read From Blood and Ash. I was able to check out From Blood and Ash from my library, but they did not have Flesh and Fire. So I was like, well, I definitely want to keep on going with the series. So I did buy it because the ebook wasn't that much cheaper. And I will definitely be buying Crown of Gilded Bones. I do like this, but me and one of my friends are kind of like, are we just missing a bunch of crap? Or are there like plot holes and weird things that don't make sense? Because no one else seems to be calling it out, but we're like, are we just stupid? Or I don't know. So I am excited for the 3rd book to come out. This is one of the other books I have not read yet, A Curse of Dark and Lonely. Like I said, I got this one from a discount store online. So I just got it because I thought it sounded really good. I hope I like it. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling again too, and I love retellings, so yeah, I'm anxious to read that at some point, but we'll see. Another one that I haven't read, I have started it, but I have not gotten back around to finishing it yet. Honestly, I think part of it is that I don't want to read it and be disappointed because The Hunger Games were by far my favorite books growing up, and I just don't want this to like taint it somehow. So I am kind of nervous to read it, but I do have it, and obviously I'm going to at some point. I at least want to get around to it this year. And then I have Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth. I actually just bought this last weekend, and so I haven't read this one yet either. But Veronica Roth, one of my favorite authors. Don't come at my girl Veronica for how she decided to end the Divergent series. I stand with you. And Carve the Mark is one of my favorite duologies, fantasy duologies. I think it's incredible. And I have high hopes for The Chosen Ones. I haven't really heard that much about it. Or like when it came out, I didn't really hear that much about it. But I did see that they were now going to be releasing paperback versions of it. And I wanted the hardcover. So that's why I just went around and decided to buy the hardcover. Because I've been on hold for this at my library for forever. So I just decided to cancel it and buy it, since I already have every single other work of Veronica Roth. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I bought this during COVID, but I'm not 100% sure. But that's the toll. I would have bought this outside of COVID because I already had Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, and this is the last book in that trilogy. This was in my top 20 of 2020 last year. I do really like this, and I think that it was a great finale, and it wrapped up the series well. However, Scythe is still my favorite, followed by Thunderhead. This will be my least favorite out of the trilogy, but that doesn't mean that I don't like it and that it wasn't great. It's just, I feel like the first book, Scythe, is just so great in my mind. Like, I can't think of a single critique for that book. Where this one, I do think, like, maybe it dragged on a bit. There were too many perspectives, a lot of, like, not knowing what was going on for too long periods of time. But anyways, I just realized when I was rearranging my shelves that I missed a book. I missed Hush Hush by Lucia Franco. Again, sorry, this is one that I haven't read yet, but I just decided to buy a paperback of because I read the Off Balance series last year. I know it's controversial. If it's not your thing, don't read it. I really liked Lucia Franco's writing, and I've heard that Hush Hush is amazing. It's like a really big age gap. I mean, it's forbidden. Do I not want to read a forbidden romance? Okay. Oh, 74, 75. Okay, I just counted. I bought 75 books since COVID started. That's not all of the books that I have, because obviously I have books up there and books on this bottom shelf that I had already owned pre-COVID that I'm not going to include in this. If anyone wants to see like a full bookshelf tour or a more in-depth one about each book, I'd be happy to do that, but I'm not going to do that in this video. That's kind of insane when I think about 75 books total over the past year. Like, that's more than buying one a week. Otherwise, that's everything for this COVID buying video. Again, I don't know what to say at the end of these things, so see ya.